Hello, everyone. Today, we're going to be starting off with, obviously, the Poppin' Off presented by Jack in the Box, and then we're going to take a look at some of the experimental patch notes.
After we're done talking about that, we're going to take a trip to art school, then come on back and look at what we think the brackets are going to be for this weekend.
I'm Avast, this is Jane, and welcome to Contested. What's up, guys? We're once again live from the Frontier Communication Studio in Dallas, Texas. This time, we did not have Twitch chat intro us in. We did it ourselves. I felt it was a bit smoother.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
A bit less
It's
rocky.
always nice, at least pretending to be professional, but, chat doing the opener, for some reason, it just didn't work out last episode. So,
No,
we had to come back and show Twitch chat how it's done. But as Avast said, yes, we are back. It's your Thursday episode of Contested, 5 p.m. Central, as per always, and we got a pretty fun episode for y'all guys today.
We do. We have a lot of things in store. We have some interns we haven't seen in a while. We got all sorts of new changes out on the books to come talk about. And we have, obviously, a preview of the upcoming Countdown Cup. But before we do any of that, we have to do the Poppin' Off presented by Jack in the Box. We just gotta bring it up here. So let's get it up. It is going to be today Ivy of the Philadelphia Fusion, actually, getting some massive kills while hacked here on Gibraltar 2nd against the Los Angeles Valiant. And the reason I picked this one is not only because it's a nice little kill versus the Valiant, but I just wanted to talk about how Ivy actually coming out on the Genji for the Philadelphia Fusion, I felt like has been an incredibly good addition for this Fusion roster. Like, EQO can play Genji for sure. They did very well with it in the last tournament. But I'm actually feeling kind of hot on the Ivy, who's been kind of seen as a Mei specialist at times. And now he's just coming out on the Genji and looking great. So Ivy kind of a underappreciated asset for the Fusion, I feel.
Yeah, he definitely had a very good performance, and it was a little bit surprising to see him on the Genji over EQO, but again, more flexibility to this roster, which is looking pretty good in the last couple of games that they've had, besides that little kind of stumble against the Los Angeles Gladiators where they had to reverse sweep, but, other than that, they're looking really good as we go into the Countdown Cup.
Yeah, I mean, and someone even says in chat, EQO permabench now Sag, but the difference is, like, it was one of our bingo responses that we did, but we didn't pull it out. Sadly, it was the EQO gets permabench and Fusion win Countdown Cup, and I actually think if
it's very possible.
I think if EQO gets permabench, they
It's going to be the same. Okay, last time we did our bracket predictions for the Summer Showdown, we pulled out almost the exact same bracket, didn't we? It was.
Oh yeah, we did. But now actually we have a way to view our graphics at the same time, so we don't have to look at them on our laptop, so we can sort of see them back to back. I pulled mine up on my laptop as well, but. Just we'll be talking about this.
That's the last thing we're doing.
That is the absolute last.
What's the first thing we're doing?
The first thing we're doing is we have to talk about two things. We'll do the minor thing first, I'd say,
all right,
and then we'll start with the larger one, which is there was rumors that they're going to do a virtual BlizzCon.
Yeah, so that
I think they confirmed
in
it
2021.
Yes, in 2021. Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as I'm aware, it's still rumors. I didn't see any official announcements. But yeah, so virtual BlizzCon. And I think the immediate question that comes to my mind is, what does that mean about World Cup sort of thing? So, I mean, there have been rumors for a very long time, going back to even before the 2019 World Cup, the 2019 World Cup existing, that in itself.
Oh, apparently they did announce it, by the way. I'm reading an article from GameSpot, and it says Activision Blizzard announced during its fiscal earnings call that it will host a virtual BlizzCon event in 2021. Early 2021.
Yeah, it was from the earnings call.
Yep.
It hasn't been like officially publicly announced.
Not publicly, but obviously that's public information. So.
Yes. So, I mean, like the World Cup happening this year, is it going to happen? Probably not.
No. There's no way.
So this is kind of
no way.
BlizzCon being canceled, I was like, at least we can kind of blame it on that sort of thing. But, even if it is, a remote or virtual, that makes it even more difficult because, just like the same sort of thing that we're doing with the grand finals for the Overwatch League, where they're still sending all the teams over because of the ping sort of situation. Blizzard and
I still don't find that to be likely.
Yeah, they just don't care about.
And also, still, I mean, a lot of the places that we would want people. I mean, because also there's just a lot of like still outgoing like travel bans and things like that too from various countries. So there's still no way for them to even get in because there's no way they'd get an appropriate visa probably. So virtual is the easiest option. I always thought on top of that, not just World Cup because we can't do World Cup, but also Overwatch 2. Yeah. Because we said in the pre-show, the 4chan leaks somehow, surprisingly,
were wrong. People thought I don't remember what the name of the PS5 show that was happening, but they just before this show went live, they were doing the PS5 show, and 4chan got it wrong. Shockingly.
That's never happened before.
Never, ever happened before. But yeah, there was no Overwatch 2 news, so we still don't know.
And I would think virtual BlizzCon in 2021 would probably be ideally the latest time that we hear news, because at this point, where is it?
Yeah.
Where it's at this, I'm kind of like, it's like taking a while to get Overwatch 2 out there. So virtual BlizzCon for me is like the absolute latest point I want to hear about Overwatch 2.
Yeah, you would definitely think that you'd want to hear it earlier than that. Like if you're thinking marketing cycles or anything like that, Christmas is an absolutely massive time period in order for game companies to actually put those games out there. So, if you're looking like the window that you're looking for like an announcement lead up to an actual release, unless they do something like Apex Legends and they're like, game's out, by the way, guys, sort of thing.
Which typically they haven't done.
They haven't done. Blizzard hasn't done that pretty much ever, as far as I'm aware. They like their big hype marketing campaigns, and it's like, if I'm thinking like, if we got to be announcing here pretty quick, if we're going to be hitting like the Christmas cycle, and if that's not happening, then I guess looking for that announcement.
Because it can't go any later than that, in my opinion.
No,
Overwatch 2 is sort of like it is this, honestly, kind of I would say the balancer for the whole ecosystem right now, because we're definitely, if we were a teeter-totter, we would be like this, and it'd be like, we're stable, but it's bad. But hopefully Overwatch 2 goes on the other side, and we flip back a little bit, because there needs to be something new that comes out. Yeah. And BlizzCon's the latest.
I mean, like the next one, I see people in chat talking about it, but this sort of thing where people are talking about like Gamescom, the next big one is happening between August 27th and 29th, and I believe Blizzard is confirmed to be participating as part of that event. But I mean, this has happened for the last how many months? Like literally any sort of electronics or gaming conference, people are like, Overwatch 2 will probably be released at this one. It's just like keeping up hope. And honestly, as we lead up to Overwatch 2, what do you think the chances are of Overwatch 2 release or announcement happening without there being actual leaks? Like I would
seems minimal.
Everyone wants to know.
Seems minimal, but honestly, in some ways, I almost feel like everyone working remote currently reduces the chance for like a social engineering leak, because you have less people coming through offices to like tour and fewer going to tour and see assets and like taking pictures, because like a lot of that leak stuff really just comes from the fact that when you have errant people walking through areas supposed to be locked down, information just gets taken pictures of, they just leak it. So I kind of feel like it almost does reduce the risk a little bit, but who knows, right? It seems almost impossible there'd be no leaks, but
who knows? I mean, if it happens at Gamescom, I would be pleasantly surprised, sort of thing. But,
I would be.
But doesn't that
happy.
That runs really up close to like to the middle of postseason too, doesn't it? So
it does. But I mean, that could sort of coincide with postseason ending and like renouncing Overwatch 2. We have all sorts of grandiose ideas of like, let's have Overwatch 2. But then who knows if Blizzard's like, actually, no. Yeah. No Overwatch 2 for you.
I just view the world through marketing cycles, so I would assume that they want to actually like hype up the Overwatch League. And
well, I view the world through my eyes.
That's probably a smarter idea.
Marketing cycles, I feel like you have to like have to keep up a little bit more. But that's sort of all the news on that front in terms of Overwatch 2 and all those things. But the bigger news, barriers,
yes.
and the lack thereof, potentially. The lack thereof. In fact, one could even say breaking barriers. We've had breakable barriers, but now we have breaking barriers.
Keep going. You can keep going. You can do one more. You can get at least squeeze two more out of that.
Let's see here. Also, we have a lessening of fortifications.
Yeah, one more.
That's a barrier of sort. And shield may be bad. Shield may be bad.
See, nailed it. I knew you had it in you. All right, so we did have two posts related. There was the first one that came out from Molly Fender, the community manager for Overwatch, who had a bit of an explanation of what they're trying to attempt to do, and then they actually had experimental patch notes come out trying to address, pretty close to that 1 year anniversary of double shield meta being a thing. They're finally starting to address it.
A classic Blizzard balance cycle. The 1 year mark is really just a tradition at this point of balance. It is at this point 1 year
have this
of
meta for 1 year.
Baked in.
Unless it's fun, then it's 1 week.
I consider all metas for Blizzard and Overwatch essentially like a certificate of deposit. It's just a CD with a 1 year. Like you keep it in and you take it out at the end. Like that's how all metas work now.
All right, so let's read what Molly Fender actually had here. So. I'll just skip right to the middle of the post where the meat and the juices are. It says, what are we trying to address? At Overwatch's highest level of plays, we've seen the meta become more defined due to certain heroes overperforming. With this experiment, we're testing some hero adjustments aimed at shifting away from a barrier-heavy meta. In addition, we're taking this opportunity to address some underperforming heroes. We hope these changes will help to diversify hero choices and team compositions. What are we testing? Brigitte, Orisa, Fara, Roadhog, Sigma, Symmetra, and Zenyatta.
Let's start with the ones that people care about most, I'd say.
Brigitte?
Yeah. Brigitte. Some would call her the scourge of Overwatch at this point. There have been many famous points and rants about how Brigitte is essentially the inflection point of evil. But whatever that may be, they lowered her health. Also, this is experimental. But at this point, experimental mode is essentially just PTR.
Yes.
It is. It is.
Did people think it was going to be anything different?
Yes,
one of
people,
the stated...
they did think it was going to be something
Okay,
different.
one of the stated reasons very early on was the fact that not enough people were playing PTR. That's the reason that they moved it off of a different server onto the main clients. That it's still PTR.
Trust me, there are still people that have argued, well, experimental is actually to experiment, which is technically correct.
Why are you telling me PTR, the public testing realm, is for testing?
No, that's for testing. And then experimenting. Two different things.
Run that by me. Actually, don't actually. Okay, so let's get into the changes. What did they actually change?
Well, they lowered her health from 200 to 150.
Yes.
On top of all of her, and then also in addition to that, they decreased her total Inspire healing, which is obviously the AoE based healing that she gets, but also increased her self healing.
Yeah, so she used to do 21 healing per second in her little area once you triggered her Inspire, or procced her Inspire, as the terminology slang goes. But now that's being reduced to 15, but her self-healing is being increased from 10.5 to that 15. So she's lost some of her health, but she's regained that EHP in sustain.
And that makes her, all things considered, when you put it in context of the shield nerfs for her, and all of her other nerfs, and now her health being lowered, and her Inspire being lowered, you would argue that this is making her relatively squishy now, in particular. But they did also increase her self-healing. And I saw Blase of the Houston Outlaws post on Twitter saying, "What if I told you this was a buff to Brigitte?"
Yeah, that's
which I find, honestly, I could see that being on an individual level, right? Because now, sure, they've then reverted back some of her squishiness. She's like harder to kill again.
But squishiness to burst.
To
only burst. And like you said that her health was reduced to 150. To be specific, it's the base health.
The base health.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she still has 250 of that being armor, right? So she still has armor, and especially with that additional shield, or healing rather, she can stay in that armor for longer, which makes that effective healing even more effective. Yes. So she is more susceptible to burst. But other than that, she has become
still pretty tanky. Yeah,
still pretty tanky. When you're healing a lot, and that's what's keeping you alive. Doesn't matter if you have 100, 200, 300 HP below that. The only thing that matters getting through that is burst.
So we'll have to see exactly how it interacts. I would say that for on an individual level, Brigitte has become stronger. But does it with the Inspire nerfs? Does it make her less effective as like a team-wide healer, especially if you're playing things like Brigitte?
Yeah,
which some teams have been playing. And there is a Zen buff in there that we'll go over to later. But just has to remain to be seen. My guess is that probably Brigitte is still going to be pretty good, just not a must run as much necessarily.
And I'm not sure who's counting, but I think this is 11 consecutive nerfs to Brigitte.
Yeah, it's been a lot. They have been throwing things at Brigitte nonstop.
Die!
And they can't figure it out.
Why won't you die?
They literally changed the format of the game.
Yes.
With adding 222 to try to prevent
when anybody says game breaking, I'm just going to, if that's in the dictionary, right beneath it needs to be a picture of Brigitte.
It's too powerful. Simply too powerful. But it's more of a wait and see things. We see some buffs on an individual level, but some nerfs for like on her team play necessarily. So it could change a bit how she interacts, but I would argue it's a little too early to tell exactly how pros are going to utilize her and what could be the best bet. Orisa now.
Yes. This is also a big
horse,
one.
The green mango, as they call her.
Do they?
They do. Well, actually, they call her the horned mango.
Okay.
The horned mango.
You know what? You hang out in different circles than I do, so.
The base armor has been reduced from 250 to 200.
Yep.
So less tanky. Always a good news if you if you don't like this particular tank. And more importantly, for me at least, they've nerfed halt.
Yes,
they've nerfed halt.
This nerf is extremely significant.
Yes.
So they've nerfed it. The radius itself, it was 7 meters, and then now it's losing 3 meters down to a 4 meter radius. So.
I think it was PMA Jellies like demonstrated it live.
Yes.
Of just like looking at the differences visually, and it is a pretty significant change if you just look at it. And this is something I have been decrying. I think we've both been decrying for a while. Of just like halt needs to be nerfed. So many people have been saying, please nerf halt. It is a mini grav, and they did.
Yes, they nerfed it. They nerfed it in an interesting way. I don't think anybody was pointing out that the range was the main problem, but this is a very significant change. And whether you're dealing with like the two-dimensional area of it. You know, there's different ways that you can judge kind of how much of a nerf this is. It's 3 meters, right? But if you're pulling around a corner, yeah, it's a reduction in 3 meters that you can literally pull around the corner. But if it's an area and you're trying to group people up, that's quite a big difference.
Also, you can't pull over shields a lot of times now.
Yes.
Which, honestly, is once again, it strikes me as like sort of the ambiguous Brigitte nerf direction too, where it's like, okay, you can't pull over shields, good, but also then if you're playing double shield, doesn't that make the fact that you can't get around the shield, like, doesn't that make it stronger indirectly in a way, because now you can't halt people over it? So it sort of cuts both ways, right? Mm-hmm. But with the reduce in tankiness and also the fact that on top of that, because I want to do the tanks first.
Yeah, it still goes through shield though. So one of the things that it could be a buff is that if you shoot it through the Reinhardt shield, you can more easily pull up people behind the Rein without pulling up the Rein as well to shield them.
Yeah.
So it's a buff and a nerf. It changes the tactics.
Yes, it does. It changes her without so it's a nerf for definitely her tankiness, but we'll have to see exactly how the halt interacts and how people are going to change around it. It's still. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say it's made it entirely impossible to use now, but it's definitely a lot worse.
Yes. For
sure. It's definitely a lot worse. But I think the more important part of this is that they've also nerfed Sigma.
Yes, and this one is also a very significant one.
It is. I think, and a lot of people have been pointing out recently, and it's something that had been a little bit overlooked because of the hatred of Orisa, because main tanks almost always get the majority of hate. When tank metas are like, when it's a super domineering tank meta that people don't like, it's always main tanks that get, everyone's like, I hate, they turn red with a rage, because the fact that main tank players can play the game angers me. It makes me very sad. But Sigma, they reduced the barrier health again from 900 to 700. Yeah,
700, and not just reducing the actual health, but they also reduced the regeneration rate. And that was down from 120 to 80?
Yes, you were correct.
Memory serves.
You are, and they've nerfed kinetic grasp, which I think is gigantic. The fact, because this to me is actually one of the most, probably the most impactful nerf out of everything else, because health being reduced again, barriers less tanky, regen rate going down means that it can't have it up as much. And with kinetic grasp, the cooldown being increased, this is like this sort of that cycle of pain that everyone felt, especially DPS players, where you would play around the Orisa, break the shield, then Sigma would come, drop his shield, and you'd maybe cycle the shields there, and then Sigma would just, as soon as the next shield goes down and then gets destroyed, kinetic grasp.
Yeah.
But by having the fact that kinetic grasp is not going to be up nearly as much, it's a lot harder to cycle. It makes
that cycling and that ping-ponging way harder.
It's way harder to sustain all the damage now with both the barrier health and the kinetic grasp changes. So I think that's a pretty big nerf. By far the biggest, potentially.
Especially for team play. I think for solo play, like, you can still use the shield in all the same ways, playing those off angles. So for more like, it's lesser of an issue in the solo queue style. More of an individual play style, but like really in terms of providing resources to your team, it is a massive nerf.
Yeah, the ranked zoo does what it wants. It's a jungle out there in the ranked environment, so everyone's trying to clear their own path through the trees and avoiding the poo and such. And so I do think that this is probably less impactful to rank, but for Overwatch League and contenders and etc. like that, high level, it does change a lot. So I guess there's still one more tank technically on this list.
Do we care?
I mean, no.
Roadhog got changed. Is it relevant? No.
It's then to reduce the ammo, they technically increase the damage a bit.
Slower,
recovery.
more damaging shots.
I would argue that none of this was really the impactful changes of the video.
No.
Like, this is still just like, maybe if Roadhog do more damage, Roadhog good tank.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think so, because Roadhog, very large piece of gelatin that gets shot an incredible amount, and it's just a ult battery, literally just a walking ult battery, and nothing has changed about that, and they've given no extra utility to Roadhog. And now that halt, you can't even pull around shields, you can't even halt hook combo anymore, so pretty much the only people playing Roadhog are going to be people throwing your games, and that's it.
They're going to enjoy doing it.
They'll enjoy it.
Yep.
They'll enjoy it.
And then the two other changes, Symmetra and Zenyatta. Symmetra change is, she keeps her charge, her high damage, a little bit easier. The delay in it reducing to the lower tiers went from 2 seconds to 4 seconds, and then her teleporter speed increased. So
I think these are both actually pretty big buffs. Legitimately, I actually think the teleporter cooldown and the delay.
How impactful do you think the teleporter cooldown actually is?
I actually think for the cooldown isn't the bigger one. The charge one is by far the most important one. But it's still for like the top level. We've seen Symmetra be played relatively frequently, to great impact currently. So I think for the maps and the rounds, especially on like Koth, where it's already good, she'll become a must run almost if you can achieve it. Because once you get set up and you have now that the primary fire just can stay a death beam for longer periods.
Yeah, this definitely feels like, to me, Symmetra is going to become an absolute terror in the actual like casual sort of world.
rejoicing.
Oh, yeah. Like, this is going to become, like, in Chaos where fights don't resolve nearly as quickly sort of thing, you can definitely farm people pretty
And
easily.
I kind of
with
like...
these changes.
I don't know. I like, though, that it focuses these buffs on her primary fire, because her primary fire is sort of a tracking, like, LG, like Quake LG type of style of gun. You know, it is very forgiving. And the cooldown with the teleporter is cool because when you can do really cool teleporter plays.
Yeah, it's more like backline harassment. You can do more of those, like,
or you could do like the
teleport, backline.
TP shatters type of things and get out. Like, so I think it opens up a lot of possibilities, but it does open a whole new can of worms of, does Symmetra become too strong potentially on the map? She's already good.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
for sure.
I think this is a case of potentially, hopefully, maybe some of those, like the primary fire change goes back a bit, I think.
Yep.
Don't think it's worth it.
And the final change, of course.
There's 2 more changes.
2 more?
Yeah, because they did Fara and Zenyatta.
Oh, yes. Sorry. I don't have Fara on my list for some reason.
Which would you like to do first?
Zenyatta.
Okay.
It's a pretty simple one. He charges up, right-clicks faster, and he also shoots faster.
Yeah. I mean...
More damage, yeah.
I don't know if this... And especially now that the Brigitte nerfs again have happened, especially with the Inspire, I don't know... If generally Zenyatta's not worried about Inspire healing quite as much, it's more worried about pack healing.
Yep.
But I still think it's interesting that they're choosing to go down. Zen is just going full glass cannon. Zen is just they're literally just increasing damage exponentially until eventually it's like equivalent of like Zenyatta will have 1 bullet and he fires it and the recoil will propel him off the map, but it wipes the enemy team. Like that's sort of direction we're going.
That's the end result.
Like,
of all
because
these
they don't
buffs,
want to give him survivability. They sort of just want to make sure that he gets even stronger.
Yeah.
Is what it seems, because that's sort of been the big synergy with Brigitte, is that they need someone to keep Zen alive, either Brigitte or Mercy.
Yeah.
And so instead of giving any more sustainability, they're just choosing more damage.
Yep.
And I personally don't really like that, because I feel like Zen already does plenty of damage, especially if you're good.
Yep.
But this is
and
some
the last
Overwatch
change
balance.
was to Fara.
To Fara, yes.
Yep.
They chose to increase her movement speed while in the air by 20%, and regeneration rate has been, for the fuel, not the team, but also the team regeneration is low right now. For hover jets, is reduced from 50 to 35 per second. And then they reduced the duration of a barrage. So I think the barrage change is actually a buff.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that it was intended as a buff too.
Probably.
It generally seems like they're trying to make the character more nimble, agile, and more fun to play. You know, like the fuel changes themselves are also good because you could always stay and like increase your altitude if you were really paying a lot of attention to it. But now, you know, you can be less efficient with your fuel. You can do more evasive maneuvers or more little drops while still maintaining altitude or gaining it. So not is it better kind of horizontal control, but you can do more maneuvers, evasive maneuvers in particular, while still staying in the sky.
I need this to be pushed to live for the Overwatch League as soon as possible, because then Jinmu becomes unstoppable.
Can you imagine if we go into a Far meta?
Then Jinmu becomes unstoppable.
I have a hankering for some air shots.
Hankering.
A hankering.
But I will say, though, still the problem with Fara, all things considered, it still doesn't really remove the fact that...
I mean, give her the hitbox of Echo or Mercy, and now we're talking.
Yeah, she needs... She's just too easy to shoot still.
Yep.
It's just like a giant target floating in the sky, and you must run Mercy most of the time to effectively run Fara, that is by far like the most hamstrung like DPS combo like requirement in the entire game still, is you must run Mercy to have Fara. You must. Like, otherwise she's just useless, because you can play D.Va, you can get her, you can play hit scan, especially all the hit scan are pretty strong now. You can even play Sigma if you're really good and get her. Like, even Winston's. Like, there are a lot of options to deal with Fara and Echo. Like, there's just so many options. Like, something has to be done about making Fara not like a giant, like, B-52 bomber that sits there and if it doesn't have like an escort is just shot out of the sky. Like, something must change, because this character is still suffering the same problems that she has been for like 4 years.
But you know what suffering leads to?
What?
Great artistic talent.
It does. Art comes from the soul. It comes from the soul of the many tribulations. And 2 people that have felt a lot of tribulations has been our interns, Jane. They have had a couple of tribulations. So we felt like we need to bring them back and perhaps have them express some of their feelings for this tumultuous, turbulent time of Overwatch coming into the Countdown Cup? Hey.
Good to see you, Av.
We've been in the we were field reporters first and some judges second.
I saw you, we were in the courthouse.
Yeah, now we apparently we're painting? Okay, we're painting today. So once again, still have the request going for us to get paid at all. It's still ongoing for me. I don't know how yours is
starving
going.
artists, you know, it's very
That's true. Starving artists.
Types to get paid for their work, especially in this economy. So
Yes.
hopefully, if you're out there and you're actually looking for somebody who will do some work for money, well, I think both of us fall into that category. We will do anything.
We'll do just about anything. Literally anything.
We will do anything even without money, but prefer money. So
Do you like my apron, by the way?
I love it.
Yeah.
I don't have one of my own.
Well, you know. It's just because it's really, honestly, this is this is actually my main outfit most of the time
Yeah,
because
well,
I can't
I
afford
had
much
to wear
else.
something that I could make sure that I felt like I was okay with destroying, so it helped.
Okay.
Oh,
that-
destroyed their own organization.
That makes
By
sense.
destroying their shirts.
Well, so we're going to be painting, apparently, here in Contested Community Art class. We are here to paint two teams from each region and display our feelings about them beforehand.
And which teams have you selected out?
I have selected the I've selected the Chengdu Hunters and the Seoul Dynasty, I think,
choices.
from the APAC region.
Good choices. And
What about yourself?
I've selected the Atlanta Reign and the Los Angeles Gladiators as the teams that I feel like I can express my feelings about the best through my art.
Wow. And we're really going to get interpretive here. And we have a wide variety of painting and googly eyes, too, and some brushes to sort of allow us to express ourselves. The paint with all colors of the wind, as they say.
They do say that.
So
All people say that.
that's what most people say, honestly. I believe every major art school, that's a major tenet. You know, and I would know this is my first day painting. So I say we just head on in.
All right.
We get in there, and we interpret, we put the beauty on the page.
Okay. Well, you know, I like to think that I've forgotten more than Jackson Pollock will ever know, so I am going to go for an abstract painting
Ooh.
for the very first one.
You're folding.
I am folding because art is three-dimensional.
Okay.
Very much like Overwatch, it's a very dynamic
Wow.
game. So I've got a strategy in mind here. We're not just painting on a 2D, we are going
I like
full
that.
on interpretive. What are you going to be doing?
Well, myself, I mean, complex things like that, 3 dimensions. I mean, I'm more of a 1-dimension type of guy. So I think I'm going to keep it here in this singular plane. But I could go quite abstract if I wanted to, because I think I need an orange, a proper orange here.
I've found a purple
Orange.
because, you know, until we start getting to the more feelings and the emotions and evoking a visceral response from the viewer of the art page, of course you need to have some just more direct representation.
Now, also, we do have brushes. I myself will be foregoing the brushes.
What are brushes?
I mean,
I only ever use my fingers.
yeah, I agree. Let's get.
My
We have to get in there with our hands.
reputation has been around finger painting.
Let's see here. I'm gonna apply this like a lotion.
Sharps, but you know, this first little bit of purple.
Like a lotion first.
Lotion.
Yeah, well, first you gotta get it into your hands, and then you're gonna go. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Which art school did you attend?
I attended the Pee Pee Poo Poo art school myself. So we're gonna get really in. Okay, so this did not work out nearly as well as I intended right off the bat. I think actually what we're gonna do here.
I'm starting to think you're not actually a professor of art.
No. We're an adjunct professor.
Are you now?
Yes.
I'm gonna make sure these vertical lines represent, you know, the departure of the Los Angeles Gladiators from where fans thought they belonged. Up here is like.
Okay, I like that. Well, as you can see, I'm doing Chengdu first, and as Chengdu is, it's messy. It's a messy team. And so then the fingerprints, you know, the fingerprints of Chin are now all over this. So I feel like I need these fingerprints here to start building the outline of this team.
I like where you're going with that.
Yeah, see, there's a method to the madness.
Now, I'm gonna also use some red here. You know, it complements the purple, but it also, of course, representative of the Atlanta Reign. And not only that, but it also represents the blood that I cry from my eyeball when I watch them play. So
That's a serious health problem.
you know, and
Okay, so do we remove this? Okay.
we're gonna put them down.
Wow. I hope the professor does not get mad at us because I am 100% getting these art products very dirty.
Well, Yeah.
And I just started
painting
here.
without breaking a few eggs, which thankfully we're not actually painting with. But yeah.
Then we're gonna continue our fingerprinting here.
Yes.
So you see how I'm building a sphere?
Yeah.
This represents Amon.
Oh, does it?
Yes, this represents Amon here.
Everything is orbs.
It's all
And I like
spherical.
that, you know, the circle is made out of your fingerprints.
Yes.
Are also circles.
Yes, it's all spheres all the way down.
spheres, all
And then you get to electrons, you get to protons, you just keep going. And those are spherical, I'm pretty sure. Or at least they're depicted as such in the books that I have just glimpsed when going through the classrooms on my night job as a janitor. It's more of a beautiful mind type of vibe I'm going here.
Yes.
So, or no, wait. No, it's more of Goodwill Hunting.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. That's what the one. So here we go. We got that. And then I want one final piece. I need like a, oh, perfect.
Got a glittery.
A glitter gold.
Ooh. I might
So
have
with
to
this,
get that one.
yeah, you can grab that because now in the center, the final part, the sort of the arch,
We have a paint called Flesh Tint. I really wonder what kind of pigment actually goes into making that.
Hopefully flesh.
Hopefully not flesh.
Hopefully flesh, I'd say, for maximum authenticity.
We have so much glitter too.
Can you help me, Jath, and give me a googly eye? Give me 2 googly
Oh
eyes.
yeah, we definitely need to pull out the googly eyes.
I think I don't feel like I should touch them myself because they.
Right, do you want big eyes or small?
Honestly,
medium-sized?
surprise me. I want you to be like nature itself and just choose what eyes.
Since it's orbs all the way down, we have to have the big eyes on the orange.
Nice. I only want 2.
You only want 2.
Yes.
All right. Well, I don't know how you're going to actually have it stick.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
That's fine. Just leave it.
That's good because it'll dry in, and it's messed up, and it's stuck to my hands. So wait. Okay, here we put it in.
You know, I was hoping that we had. Oh, you have the black.
Yes, you do. Want the?
Yeah, I
it's
needed
covered in a bit of paint. It's covered in a bit of paint.
Just a bit. Just a tiny.
This is just the price of art, though.
Yeah, apparently.
The other
I
problem.
just wanted something to represent the dark pit inside the souls of Atlanta and LA fans. After
Mine is completed.
Yours is completed.
My first one. So I'm going to now gingerly lift this over here so we can view this later and talk about it.
Okay. Well, I'm almost done here. The last thing that I need to represent on my painting is the hopes and dreams of both these teams, with gold representing the first place.
The other problem here is that my beard is heavily affected by gravity.
That's okay.
and
I'll fix your beard.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you,
okay,
sir.
We got this.
Yeah,
This is a completely
that's
normal
good.
thing for beards.
That's good. This is that's the homoeroticism
this
I
is
wanted.
the Jackson Pollock stuff. This is where this is where we put it together.
Now, what inspired you to do it like this method?
Because neither of these teams make sense.
Oh.
When you look at the chaos of the Los Angeles Gladiators and the Atlanta Reign,
So yours is sort of a dual portrait.
it's the dualism of man. And when you open it up, it's
Oh, it looks like poop splatters, like their performance a bit.
yeah. And then somehow, if you are actually a fan of the Atlanta Reign or the Los Angeles Gladiators, you could still find within this abstract painting arguments with which you can shitpost on Reddit. Did you know that?
Wow.
Yeah. It's really like
you're thinking in a whole. I love the symmetry of it too.
Yeah.
I do this. You're thinking on a whole different level here. You should move from adjunct to starting professor.
I mean, I did study at Jubilard before, Contested.
At what?
Yeah.
A Juilliard?
No, Jubilard.
Jubilard.
Yeah, it's
I'm more of a jamboree type of guy, so that's not for me as much. But that's big. That's big news. I think now I'm gonna do my own. Now this is my Soul Dynasty.
This is your Soul Dynasty.
Now for Soul Dynasty, we're gonna have to change it up a bit because most people they think art is just you makes a couple abstract symbols, or perhaps I make an excellent representation of life itself there, but really art is a mix of different expressions, much like the Soul Dynasty, where their expressions are sort of like that which you don't understand, and really don't make any sense at times. And so for myself, for my Soul Dynasty here, let me take this bad boy here. You have to think outside the box. And much like the Soul Dynasty, it just doesn't work.
Sometimes it just doesn't work.
It just doesn't work.
I mean, it worked for me the first time, worked for you, and then just suddenly, without warning, it'll stop working. It'll just
Okay.
stop functioning.
And then here, now, beneath this gold exterior,
Yes.
underneath that, for the Soul Dynasty, there is a darker portion of disappointment. And so now if I then take the gold yet again, and I make an arrow here, a dualistic arrow showing the.
We are all about this duality, aren't we?
And now we have that interpreted. So I'd say this has gone pretty well. Shall we? So you've gone over yours. You know, we have
I combo.
sort of the Rorschach of Atlanta Reign gladiators. And so obviously mine. So we made the ball, the Amon ball. As you see, there's the orange exterior. Oh, he's leaking. Oh. Well, just like the fan base is leaking.
It's the grappling hook.
Oh, of course, that's his grappling hook.
Grappling hook. We just got.
And
I'm
then
going to learn from you.
That's so smart. That's so smart. And then you have this, and it's in a sphere, of course. Thank you for wiping that on me. And the gold in the middle represents really the nugget of gold that is there for the Chengdu. and look, it's stuck because of the paint.
Is.
So there's an orb with grappling hook. It's the sort of a representation of Damon Ball.
Send that to Aming. I think
You think so?
Yeah.
You think you'd like that?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna keep that right over here.
This one in half, send one half to the Atlanta Reign HQ and one half to the one.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would make sense for both of them because they have like half of a working roster for both. So I think that would make sense. And then here's my Soul Dynasty is that, as you noticed, it's not just a typical, it's sort of a word art. And it spells out Sag.
Oh!
It spells out Sag, as you can see. And then there's the gold arrow representing the little gold filaments and the color scheme that points to this darker underscore of this top yellow for the Soul Dynasty. And this is what the fans say after they've lost, is they say Sag. So for myself, I feel much better about the Amon. I think I'd be much more comfortable putting this in a gallery. Mm-hmm. But this one could be a nice at-home painting.
Yeah, it's just the casual one that's over the dining room table when you have guests over for wine and cheese.
It's like a Kandinsky contrasting sounds, which is the painting I have in my room, but it's not mine actually.
It reminds me of like a Rembrandt.
Yeah, I think so, and I think maybe if I cut off a few years later, this could be worth big money.
Yeah, that was definitely Rembrandt who cut off his ears.
Well, I was thinking more on the other guy that cut off his ears.
I mean, who doesn't cut off their ears?
That's the other one, but I'd say this has been a success.
It has. I hope that you've learned from, of course, the experts, the art experts, of which Jath and Nav, we both are. So.
If you'd like to purchase these, send them to find my handlers. Find our handlers. I guess.
I suppose even though we're unpaid, we still have to give her art up. So.
Yeah.
Jayne and
it's part of the deal.
And Avast, I guess we'll have to deal with.
Oh, my A!
It just makes it more authentic. It's now a Banksy, not a Rembrandt.
That's true.
Is that on your beard? It's all on your beard.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I've worked so hard to grow this.
Yeah, that's gonna suck shaving it off. You're gonna have to grow it all back.
I will.
I mean, all the beard care, and it's almost as much effort as I put into my mustache.
I know, and it's hard to get that sort of rectangular stencil.
Yes.
And do you use conditioner for your eyebrows? You use that?
Don't out me.
Well, this has been another successful.
Yeah, we'll have to go into like
class.
hair care class.
That could be later.
That's different. That's in the home ec department, which I'm sure we'll visit someday, but not today. Today has been, of course, focused on art and interpretive. I don't even know what, but this class definitely worth credits. So make sure you put it on your transcript.
It's a pass-fail.
It is.
It's a pass-fail. I think we passed.
I think we passed.
I think we passed.
I mean, why wouldn't we pass?
Yeah.
Instructors and students all in one. Pretty easy. Beautiful.
There's art class.
Thank you for attending the Contested Community College Art Edition. Back to you, Jayne and Avast.
That one, I have to say, they just have endless talents.
They
our
do.
interns.
They just have the best jobs ever, just going all over the country, trying to check out the San Francisco Shock House, going to art school. I mean, litigations in court.
What
they are
can't they do?
multi-talented,
I see you've gotten,
yeah.
Jath
So Jath did send over his finished
Well, more like
work
we
here.
confiscated it.
Yeah, I mean,
They don't get to keep it.
there's no way he would have sold this if he had the option. So no, this
Maybe.
is and it's probably. I think we're gonna have to put this up in the studio here
Yeah,
somewhere. So
you could put it. We'll find a place. There's technically a shelf, but if you put it right there on the edge of the shelf and move the pirate.
Pirate will.
Yeah, and put them right there. Oh, I forgot that we had. You guys can't see it, but there's a lot. Eventually, we're gonna get a wider perhaps a fisheye lens. I don't think that's a wider view, but it's a lens, and that's sort of the most I know about cinematography. So we're gonna get the shelf in there at some point. They did good work.
They did great work.
They did good work.
Yeah, Jath seemed to have been some throat problems. He was pretty quiet, but
Yeah, I mean that's
hopefully
the
he
problem.
gets over that.
That's the problem when they're just they do what they can, right? They do what they can, and you know what? We do what we can because we have to go over the brackets for the upcoming Countdown Cup.
We do
check them out.
Do we have a graphic to pull these up at the same time? Are we just gonna pull the Band-Aid off right at once and one at a time?
One at a time.
Who's going first?
I don't
Rock,
know.
paper, scissors.
Do you want rock,
yeah,
paper, scissors?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Rock, paper, scissors. Sure.
Wait, I always do
win.
rock, paper, scissors. I never just shoot. But
All right.
did I lose or you win? I'm gonna go first.
Okay.
I'm gonna go first. We made our brackets here for the Countdown Cup because we have to talk about how we sort of had the artist depiction of some teams. But let's make up our own brackets. So let's make up mine. We can start. We'll start with an A. We'll start with an A first. So here is my particular bracket, Jane. If you wish to pick it apart.
Okay.
Anything that you're seeing right off the bat.
think the Washington Justice are going to beat the Dallas Fuel? Hey man, last episode you were getting called the Dallas Fuel PR department, so I see you're turning heel immediately.
I am not feeling confident on the Dallas Fuel currently, and this is not. I would say if this was any other time, I would not predict the Justice to win.
Yeah.
But I feel like the trials and tribulations of current events have probably left a sort of turmoil within them. And Justice, it is a Genji meta still, and Justice have had some like okayish showings. So I'm feeling like it's possible. Fair enough. Possible.
For the rest, I see that we've actually picked the same pick order. So, substituting Washington Justice for the Dallas Fuel, I agree with you that those are kind of like the good team picks in the next round. And I think that I agree with all the winners after that. So then moving into the semifinals, San Francisco beating Florida. I absolutely agree with that. Now, where we are going to diverge, if you want to pull up my bracket there, Tech, I think that the Philadelphia Fusion is not only going to beat Paris Eternal, they're also going to take the entire North American division.
Wow. We have inversed here. Jane has become a Fusion simp.
I am.
There it is.
I am. I have converted to the Church of Chipsa.
I saw.
You thought Super was going to play in the finals? I think Chips is going to play in the finals because that's just how good they are.
You think they'll play?
What,
Chips?
are you laughing? You think that was a joke?
I mean, I do. I find that to be a much more of a joke than Super playing Genji.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, big words.
Yeah,
big words.
I do. No joke. If it was Doomfist, maybe not. But like, this is unrelated. But I saw a gecko image today.
A gecko
and
image.
It was hanging upside down, and the other gecko was hanging on it.
Cute image.
But I saw someone in the comments because there was like some BS Reddit like article like name for it, and it was like, the male gecko will hold upside down on the cage so the female gets more warmth. And then someone typed in the comic, simp. And I thought that was really funny. Okay, let's go back to the graphics. So we disagreed.
It was worth the punchline.
We disagreed that Fusion will win.
Yep.
I think is the biggest thing. And you think Fusion will also beat Paris Eternal?
Yes.
I am still strong.
Well, San Francisco Shock in the finals as well. I think they're the best of the three teams.
Yeah, well, I mean, we both agree that Shock's in the finals because their bracket will probably be better for them. Also, remember our rat suit bet is on.
Yes.
I think I saw a response to our mailbag where someone said, "I can't wait for the rat suit." So that is the contingent.
I mean, no matter which one of us loses, one of us is in the suit.
One of us is in the suit.
One of us is in the suit.
No matter what. But I really still think that Paris should win. I feel like they should only be able to be stronger in the same meta they just played, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That's how I'm feeling at least. But you think the Fusion roster is so strong.
Paris Eternal are still strong, and I definitely think it's this. There's no real reason to think that they've gotten worse since they're showing in the Summer Showdown. And of course, Sparkle is a fantastic Genji, Hanbin fielder, the entire squad. With the MVP and the Rookie of the Year candidates are actually being announced, or not candidates, like the results are being announced tomorrow, I do believe, right?
Are they?
I'm pretty sure they are. August 7th is tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything about this.
I thought that, anyway.
Is that? Well, okay.
Maybe I'm crazy.
Maybe.
Either way, what I'm
so.
trying to say is that there's a lot of candidates for either MVP or Rookie of the Year on Paris Eternal. It's a good squad, good team, but I think Paris, just from what I've seen of their play in a little bit, it's... Chad is like questioning mark me too. Am I just like crazy?
I saw like there was like a Reddit leak about potentially that being the case, but I don't know if anything's been confirmed necessarily. So that's really just unsubstantiated here.
Yeah.
That's unsubstantiated. It's possible. I mean, you have forgotten where you're at times,
True.
so.
I forget who I am. But anyway, I think Philly's improved.
Do you think this is Philly with EQO or without EQO?
Does it matter?
Yeah.
I don't think it
Matters
matters.
to me.
I don't think it matters.
You don't think it matters?
Nope.
Well, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, but I'm standing strong on Fusion. I'm standing strong on Eternal, I should say. I'm standing strong. I feel like that just speaks to me. But we'll have to see. And we'll also have to see about the rat suit because our bet.
So if of course, if you didn't hear about the original rat suit bet, the bet was that against either
any team in the tournament, really.
Now we're changing the scope.
No,
we said against good teams.
Well, okay. Well, technically, at this point,
if the San Francisco Shock plays against the Washington Justice, of course they're going to play.
Well, they're not going to play the Washington Justice, though.
Why not?
Because they're just.
Wasn't it part of your bracket?
Okay, I guess. Okay, fine. Do we count Mayhem as a good team?
Sure.
Okay, so if they play Super Genji versus Mayhem or Eternal in the finals or whatever, then it counts. Just not.
It'll
Justice.
be Fusion in the finals, but yes.
Sure, Fusion in the finals in your bracket. Okay.
Yeah. But I'm not getting in this rat suit if they pull it out against the damn
I feel
Justice.
like playing it in the Countdown Cup isn't unfair, but fine. Versus Mayhem or in the finals. Yes, we'll adjust it.
All right.
We'll adjust it to that. Well, I guess we should take a look at the APAC
division
then too as well. So and see if we have any big differences.
Oh, you're a coward. You know that, right?
I'm a coward.
You're a damn coward.
Well, I said Chengdu is my dark horse, not who I'm rooting for necessarily. I'm not necessarily rooting for Chengdu.
The wheel of Chengdu spoke. Or Chengdu, rather.
Chengdu.
The wheel of Chengdu spoke. And then Bingo spoke. You've been ignoring all of the signs.
I know that
this is Chengdu's time.
I know the universe has been speaking to me, but
It's been speaking to the both of us.
I refuse to listen.
It's been whispering sweet, sweet nothings in our ears.
I block my ears and I say, no, I will not listen. I shan't. I cannot see. I cannot hear.
I actually feel betrayed.
Well, here, let's see your bracket then. Let's see the Jayne bracket.
Yeah, I'm all in.
Wow, you do have Chengdu. But you have Chengdu winning.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, well,
Let's go.
I see. Grandpa's off the pills again. He needs his medic. We have to go to the pharmacy and get some new medication.
This is going to be legendary when it happens.
If that, I'm going to say that Chengdu, if they win, would be incredible. It would be nuts.
The stars have been aligning. I can't lose faith now. I can't. There's no way. The narrative, especially on this show, the amount of things that have happened on this show to indicate that Chengdu is going to win. Unreal.
I feel like we gain stronger powers than if our various skits and gags are able to predict the winners of things. In that case, we're veering dangerously close into Overwatch Nostradamus.
Yeah, my last job was a shaman. Didn't you know that?
Wow.
Yeah.
That is. I thought you were. See, someone said in the chat when we were that you were a second grade teacher, and I am a second grader, so I thought that was your last job.
Yeah.
I mean, like be a shaman before that.
As much
a
as
shaman for children.
Yes. Yes.
Well, that's a pretty specific job title. That's a pretty specific job
It's pretty
title.
common in Canada. It's just rare in America.
That's fair. That's fair. Our social services are a little bit less.
Yeah.
That's fair.
You don't put nearly enough funding into the shaman services.
That's true. Well, if Chengdu win, I will be impressed. And I will never again doubt the universe for telling me things.
That's right.
But I don't believe
Man,
that
when
to
the
be
universe is like, it's one of those things like, please give me a sign. When the universe gives you a sign, you just got to follow it, man. I have faith. Chengdu is on the up and up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so we had two big disagreements then. We had disagreements on who won both of these brackets.
Yep.
Both the Paris and then obviously disagreements on if Super plays Genji. But we have a wager,
rat suit bet
on that. So we do have some differences.
See, the worst part about this is that like us having this bet in public could change the universe.
But also Fusion I can at least be like, okay, fine. But Chengdu, Amon, he just plays ball. He only plays ball. And now Arissa's back.
Okay, so what happened recently with the Chengdu Hunters? With their new coach and have they been winning?
It was
with
old
that?
meta.
Okay, yeah. And what were the previous things before all of these things that allowed the Chengdu Hunters to improve and get better? Before all of this, back when they were already trash, which team did they beat? Not once, not twice. Actually, twice.
Yeah,
It was
twice.
not thrice.
Not
it
once.
was twice.
Not twice. Certainly not a third time, but it was twice.
It was actually twice. Which team was that?
It was the Chengdu.
No, I
It was
got Dragons.
It was Dragons.
You're right. It was the Dragons.
I can't see it. I just can't see it.
You're
My
blind.
eyes cannot see.
You're blind.
I told
Your
you,
eyes are
I
to the
don't
ground.
see out of marketing cycles, and I know that if you aim on sort of does a cycle with the
Yeah.
ball, but like I just can't. I can't follow it. There's just no way. The meta. If they win with silly heroes only, then we have moved into a new era. We've heard of like the Paleolithic, the Mesozoic. Now we're going into the silly era. If
The
that is case.
Sillyolithic.
The Sillyolithic.
Yep.
So it just
I just gotta believe, man.
gotta believe.
I gotta believe. It's not gonna happen if I don't believe.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
The man who believes he can and the man who believes he cannot are both right.
But one's
And
definitely
that's
wrong.
wisdom.
But one's definitely wrong. Depending on the result, one is definitely wrong. Okay, so there's our brackets. We've had a bit of a disagreement, but mostly the same. So I guess that leaves us with we have to take a look
We
at
disagreed
mailbag.
on everything, but they're mostly the same.
We disagreed on, I would say, like 30%, but that 30% was the most important. Yeah. So it was weighted heavily towards the most important disagreements. But we should take a look at mailbag now and see
All right.
what we have given. So we asked them to be GM for the Dallas Fuel for a
Yep.
day. A very juicy question. A question that contains a lot of options and opportunities.
Holy smokes, you weren't kidding. We did get essays.
Yeah, I know. You guys submitted it, and I had my TAs grade them
Holy.
left and right. They were sitting there making sure, checking the syntax, checking the grammar. The indents were properly. We had word requirements, so we made sure you didn't just fill a bunch of letters and white color them in, so then it met the word count, okay? My TAs are on top of that. You can't catch me.
Well, which essay are you sharing first then?
Well, the one in my Discord was the first one, and it was actually a duel. It was co-authored by two people, by Lunar and
They have
Ender.
co-authors?
They have co-authors.
Oh my
now.
God.
By Lunar and Ender, and it was addressed to Professor Jath and Professor Ab. So technically, that's not us.
No, it's not.
Technically, that's not us. But I will be doing it for them as I do most things, like taking their checks and making life decisions and things like that. So. And it's called Conflicted GMing 101 is the class, and the title is Fixing the Dallas Fuel. And so I'll start out with the opening sentence here. Fixing a team is something that takes a lot of time and consideration. As such, we have spent some good effort in an attempt to fix the blue dumpster fire that is Dallas. And then I'll actually read the second one for the next paragraph because I think it's good too. First, approach the throne of Krusty and somehow see if you can purchase either himself or Junkbuck to try to get any semblance of good coaching. Even offer up to add Krusty into the will if you have to. Just try your absolute hardest to get him. As long as you get Junkbuck, you're set. Then they say we're going to get rid of all the players that aren't playing. You know, they're going through a list, but I'll cut it down. I'll cut it down to
Imagine
their final
skipping
roster.
over all their hard work.
I'm cutting it down.
All right.
I'm cutting it down to the final roster.
You're like that professor
I
with
read
the
the
big red
opening.
pen that just goes,
I read the opening.
X.
Why let my TAs do all the grading? Not me.
Simplify. And
I'm not doing the
yes.
grading myself,
All
really.
right.
I have
Yeah.
tenure.
You're one of those professors I hated in university.
Yeah, such is life.
Yep.
Yeah, haters gonna hate. So their main tanks for their final roster from Lunar and Ender would be Yakpung or Mag/Gamsu, keeping Gamsu. Off tanks would be Kalios or Icy from Comically Large Crosshair in NA contenders.
What?
Their hit scans would be they'd keep Onigod and they'd potentially get Jerry from Boston, poach Jerry. Their projectile players they'd keep Doha and pick up Daned?
Yep.
Daned? I don't know.
Yeah, he's the European Doomfist man.
Yeah. Their main supports, they said that Paintbrush needs more time to ferment as a player. Which is a term I've been using a
Do
lot.
you ferment paint? I don't think you do.
You don't ferment paint. I don't think you ferment people either. But
That's a good point.
the thing is, I've been using that term anyways, just because. And they would get Yofi from British Hurricane, now ex-British
yes,
Hurricane.
yeah,
Yeah. Though also, I mean, OG is technically a free agent now, but I don't think he's going to be old enough to play for a while.
And that's
So,
OJE.
Yes.
Yeah. Just
Not OG
just for
main
chat.
tank.
Just for chat.
OG.
Well, I guess there's a reason they're
And their
not
head
the fuel
coach,
GM.
Junkbuck or Reprise, as the assistant coach potentially. Assistant coach could be Junkbuck if Reprise is the head coach, and they'd keep Vol'jin and maybe Young, and they would keep the translator.
Do you think the fuel is going to keep Young as the head coach? Like,
Depends.
he's
I mean,
interim
it just
head coach right now.
Really, for me, I don't think anyone should expect Fuel should have any results at this point. In my personal opinion, I think it's rough to go through this many changes and lose a player that was very integral to the team. It's possible. I think the real grading system here is just like, does Young bottle the boom. If Young can bottle the boom, then like keep it contained,
Or just keep them focused, keep them
yeah,
working.
just keep them focused. Then honestly, that's a pretty
And
extraordinary
there is always
circumstances.
that dead count bounce, right? So
Yeah.
we saw it with the Houston Outlaws. When they sold, they just suddenly had performance because they had that momentary inspiration and motivation. So we could definitely see a dead cat bounce out of the fuel and just have...
Oh, I forgot off supports. They want Aztec from Uprising Academy and keeping Crimzo. So there's their.
So they're changing,
I don't know where
they're throwing everyone out. They're throwing everyone out. All right.
Yeah, I
well-
think Young could be, if they keep like a semblance of sanity here and some structure, Young could be a good keep. So
Another response that we had was from Homebound 11 from the Contested Podcast subreddit. He said, at this point, it is time for Dallas to dig towards the original vision of the league. I remember hearing in a podcast, about how the vision for the league was that the brands to be new and incorporating, and what was pushed up the buy-in price for franchises. Was that a sentence?
I don't have it in front of me, but I'm going to assume that probably no.
Okay. This is also why COD League teams were cheaper and allowed for Dallas Envy and Atlanta FaZe as their team names. Throw away the old guard. There is already plenty of signs of going mostly Korean, so play through the rest of the season. Let the old talent have a last hurrah in an easy match. Vancouver on the 15th. I mean, we say easy.
Technically also Justice.
Yeah.
This is theoretically, but...
Yeah, we'll see. Then let them ride off into the sunset. Use the offseason to start fresh. You have the equipment and facility to cultivate a good team if you work with them. Something similar to what Valiant did this season, but with Korean talent, would be a good way to go. Razzle-dazzle them with the state-of-the-art facility, new coaching staff, and a new coat of paint with a desire to win.
Someone also has another PDF they want me to read that they just submitted saying, am I too late? Okay.
They sent you a PDF?
Yeah, it's a PDF in my Discord. Now, this one's from Rovere. And this one is titled... Rebuilding Dallas Fuel, and there's a small text above that saying TLDR at the bottom for Avast if this is too long to read. And guess what? I cannot read, so that's probably for the best.
You can barely speak.
But, yeah. So let's see how long theirs is still quite long. This one might be longer, in fact. I want to hit some points here, some bullet points that they might have. They said that they definitely have to keep Doha, no matter what.
Yep, for sure. Agree with that one.
They had said that maybe they would keep Paintbrush on and maybe grab another main support. And Icy is once again coming to the fore, along with Kalios and Yakpung for tanking, and maybe keep it on Gamsu. But the TLDR is, to conclude, I think that some of the Fuel's newer pickups this season should remain on the team while old players go and more players are brought in. I think that the players from British Hurricane and O2 Blast should be seriously looked at to be picked up by the Fuel, along with other players from NAEU, KR contenders. Lineup that I think Fuel could go for next season is Yakpung and Muse. I don't want to say about Muse. I don't know why I said Muse. I'm thinking cows are on the brain. Muse. Or also keeping Gamsu. Their off tank could be Note. Isn't Chow? Didn't he just retire? Chow. I forgot how he says his name. It's TXAO. Chow, I think. But he just retired. Or not retired, but he wants to be a coach now. But then there's Icy and Kalios. Fair. Main support, Paintbrush, and keeping closer or getting Yofi. And then flex support, Crimzo, Neko, or Ripa. Neko and Ripa as potential flex support candidates.
Now I just really want to see a team in the Overwatch League run by Reddit votes.
I would like to see the Neko Ripa tank line really badly. Or not tank line, support line. And tank line.
I would love to see that as a tank line.
But the support line, I think, would be a pretty interesting one. And then Flex DPS, Doha, then getting Pelican, Donetta, Razor, okay. And Hitscan, Onigod, Proper, Sparker. And they said head coach, if they could get Levi, actually, from Eternal.
Yeah.
Not bad. And then Young Punk Young. Okay.
We did have one more from Son of Gary on the competitive Overwatch subreddit. He said, simply in terms of players, there need to be a partial rebuild. First of all, clear the bench. Bye-bye Closer, AKM, etc. I would say keep Crimzo, as a starter, and keep Paintbrush as a backup since he's good. I mean, they don't play the same role, but since he's good for if they ever need to play Zenbap. Then try and pick up OG, another person recommending OG.
Yeah.
From Contenders as the new main support.
Still wouldn't be old enough, I think.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with the tank line. The market is pretty sparse right now. Gamsu might not be the best, but he definitely has a decent peak. So keep him if you can't get anyone better. Probably should try to get an upgrade over upgrade over Note. I'm just getting personally offended reading this.
People are kind of, it's weird is people were really down on Note, and then Note had some pretty solid performances. And everyone's like, well, actually, Note's pretty good. And now everyone's back to saying Note's not good. But I guess it depends on what your opinion of, like, if they want Dallas to be a championship roster, it depends on your opinion if you feel like Note is a championship player.
Yeah.
I feel like the opinion shifted from Note being trash to Note being okay, but is it championship is sort of where the current dialogue has moved.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this, like, if you're making the argument that you need to purge the roster or the players because you're fixing culture or like interpersonal problems, sure. But a lot of these players, a team being less than the sum of its parts doesn't make the players individually bad, sort of thing. So I don't know. Maybe I approach this a different way, but and he continues. And I think a bold move would be to try and get Poco off of the Fusion, as he has been semi-benched as of late from Fury. Yeah,
good luck.
The DPS lineup is not really a problem. Onigod is a nut and is still on ping, so get him in the US and he'll pop off. And Doha is Doha. I think you should try and get at least one more option as well. Maybe try and get someone who's been riding the bench like Surefour, or just nab a prospect from contenders. So of all the ones we read, I think this one's the most reasonable, even if it makes me angry. But
yeah.
Well,
think about this one, actually. Think about this
you're doing one more.
Just this from live chat. Just pick up Eagle Gaming.
Why do we always forget?
That's so smart.
Every time.
That's so smart.
Every time.
Why don't they just pick up Eagle Gaming?
I don't know. They're God's gift to esports.
But what about 6 AKMs? I love that meme. It's just, but what about AKM? You just expand it. 2 OP, yeah, that actually might not be fair.
True.
That might not be fair.
I'm pretty sure it's against league rules.
To have that, but to have all those sort of stats.
Well, for this week, of course, you are going to be watching the Countdown Cup between now and our next episode, which you have it on your schedule. Alerts, 3 alarms, and a reminder from your mom. Tuesday, 5 p.m. Central, we'll be back with Contested for the post-countdown. You don't have your mom?
My mom?
Yeah. Reminds you and the rest of the chat to come watch.
No.
Tuesday, 5 p.m. Central. So we are live, as you probably know since you're watching this episode, on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. But if you're listening to this pre-recorded on the podcast platforms like Apple Podcast or Spotify, I also hope you enjoyed your day. But for next week, the mailbag question that we are going to be asking you is sharing your Countdown Cup brackets with us. Who do you have winning it all?
So you can get glory. If you beat us out on the brackets, if you have a crazy bracket,
which you
predict
can't
it right,
do because my brackets are perfect.
Or just have an insane prediction, we will feature it.
Immaculate brackets.
No, I would say your bracket is
oh yeah, I don't have it written down, but we should do
damaged.
the VIP thing again. The VIP game? Yeah. So if you have a crazy prediction and you don't edit your comment, you'll get VIP in the channel.
Also, you said 3 alarms. That'd be a pretty good support line. 3 alarms, right?
Okay, I'm done. Okay.
Oh, that'd be pretty good. He says, cut it there. He says, cut it there. Well, that has been Contested. We'll be back on Tuesday. Send us your brackets, and we can reward you with a VIP if it's very good. I'm Avast. This is Jane. Thanks for watching.